I'm, everyone's talking about something that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So
That happens to me on TV shows all the time.
Hmm.
I still haven't seen Hannibal.
Oh, I haven't seen that either.
So if anyone speaks Esperanto and would like to design a t-shirt for us in Esperanto,
That would
feedback
be fabulous.
at dailytechnewsshow.com. Roger, we cannot hear you now.
Oh, dear.
No escucha. No te escucha. Roher. Yeah, no, there was something you were about to say. I'm going to have to go get Esperanto food now. Maybe that's what I was thinking. Would be good on a t-shirt. Or just, I adore Daily Tech News Show. No sonido. Nope. Still no Roger.
Roger, what in the world is happening? You've gotten my weird audio virus.
Yes.
Gotta
Transmitted all over to his side of town.
Yeah.
No. Nothing. See you fine, though. Looking good. You lost weight? Been working out?
Test.
Oh, now we hear you. There we go.
Hey.
Hurrah!
Hey.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
everybody ready to do a show?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Let's do that, what I just said.
Okay.
Here we go. Daily Tech News Show is powered by you. Look deep inside and then find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, November 16th. Happy birthday to my mom. 2017. From DTNS headquarters in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
Happy birthday, Tom Merritt's mom from Studio Feline at the beach. I'm Sarah Lane.
And from Oakland, California, wishing a happy birthday to my mom yesterday. It is Justin
Oh
Robert.
my God, so many birthdays.
So many mom days. Producer Roger Chang, is it your mom's birthday?
No, I missed it. I missed it. I totally missed it.
Was it recent?
No. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, I missed it.
It was a few years ago.
Yeah,
We-
yeah.
No reminder.
Only has it once every couple of years.
That-
We are going to talk about a new third-party, nonpartisan plan to help you figure out whether you can trust a news source. But let's start with a few tech things you should know. Vimeo announced users can now upload video in HDR and at resolutions up to 8K. Talk about your future-proofing. Service also now supports 10-bit video and a wider color gamut. HDR playback will work on pretty much any new mobile device that has HDR capability, as well as the Apple TV 4K.
Canonical announced 5 new Dell Precision models will be sold with Ubuntu 16.04 LTS pre-installed. The models include the Dell Precision 5520, the 3520, the 7520, and the 7720 laptops, plus the 5720 all-in-one desktop.
Linux, woo!
American Express launched the
FXIP. You just say it out. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
You don't have to pronounce.
I was getting there. Providing instant blockchain-based payments for U.S. customers sending money to U.K. businesses that bank with Santander. American Express is partnering with Ripple, which focuses on cross-border blockchain-based payment infrastructure to do it.
Yep, another blockchain on the block. And the key here is instant. Instead of taking not only 3 days, but international payments take even longer sometimes. Boom, done. Money's there. All right, here's some more top stories. OnePlus officially announced the 6.01-inch OnePlus 5T. Most of the rumors were true. It's got a 2160 by 1080 AMOLED display, the 2:1 aspect ratio that you'll often see as 18:9, so that it's easier in your mind to compare it to 16:9. Snapdragon 835 chip, nothing new there. 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM, 3300 milliamp hour battery, Android 7.1. It'll get Oreo eventually, but it doesn't have it right now. And Bluetooth 5 support. That's nice future-proofing there. there. Camera also has a low light sensor instead of the telephoto, and that will kick in when it's needed if it detects low light. Shipping November 21st in Europe, India, and the United States. 64 gigabyte models, $499. The 128 gigabyte model is $559. It's got them slim bezels everybody loves, and it has a headphone jack.
Ooh, headphone jack. Up until then, I was like, eh.
You're like, nice design,
Sounds
little
like lots of
taller,
other
but...
Wait a second. Did someone say headphone jack? I have so many headphones.
Man, headphone jacks are the new vinyl. Like, I feel like there's like a lifestyle definition to a headphone jack.
The throwback analog thing that people miss. Yeah. No, OnePlus 5T is a great $499 phone or $559 phone. Put it up against the Essential phone. If you're in that, if you're like, that's my price range, $499, I'd look at the 5T. I'd look at the Essential now that it's cheaper. And you're getting high quality Samsung Galaxy S iPhone quality phones for a lot less money.
Well, I have some other news. Completely different. Twitter has stopped accepting submissions for verification. So you don't have one of those little blue checks. Things done changed. The company's also introduced new guidelines for accounts to maintain verification. If you have it, you won't necessarily keep having it. Depends on how you act. It also begun a new review, and under the new guidelines will remove verifications for accounts that don't follow Twitter's rules or accounts that promote hate or promote violence or engage in harassment or intentionally mislead people by doing something like changing the name or changing the bio to confuse. Several accounts have already had their verification removed under these new guidelines. The company says it's also working on new authentication and verification programs.
Well, this fixes everything.
Yeah.
Dust your hands off. Job's done.
Twitter, we need to talk.
Oh, my God. For audio listeners, Tom has just ruefully removed his glasses.
This is not how you handle this, Twitter. I'm sorry. Really like you. I use you a lot. But if you want to have a verification system, you make it a verification system. Now, pausing verifications is not the bad part of this to me. But saying, okay, but we're going to start pulling away verifications for behavior, then you're basically leaning into the criticism of this is a badge of honor of somehow that you have to earn. In my opinion, just my opinion, verification should be, we went to the trouble to find out if who they say they are is who they are. End of story. Anybody can get it. It's just a minimal thing. Check mark. Yep. When you see Justin Robert Young, you know that's really Justin Robert Young. That's all it should be.
Yeah, well, but the problem is those that everybody was up in arms last week or 2 weeks ago because, somebody that was, is seen as a,
so many people didn't like, got a verification check mark. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
one of the guys who organized the Charlottesville protest, which obviously became a national news story and involved a woman dying after a dude ran her over.
Right. And so, a lot of people, perhaps rightly so, were like, well, this is, you can't verify somebody like this is a bad person. Well, if verification is really about like, I'm who I say I am, no matter who that person is, well, that's one thing. And Tom, I think this is kind of the point you're making is, well, Twitter's starting to say, well, if you behave badly, though, even if you're who you say you are and you've got that verification, we might get rid of you.
Then it's not verification. It is what people were interpreting it as with that guy. It's an approval badge, which I think is a horrible direction for Twitter to go. It's just going to get them in more and more of these problems. And it is important to have a verified check mark for you to know, like, is that a parody account? Is this someone trying to fool me? Is it a bot or is it a real person? I think that is a valuable service and it should be limited to just that. I don't mind if someone that I think is reprehensible has a check mark that says they are who they say they are. In fact, I appreciate that so that I know, okay, the horrible things this person is saying are from them. I can attribute it to them. It's not somebody trying to slag them and make them look like they are worse than they are.
And here's a wild idea. Instead of making the verification system your cool kids club, why don't you make your platform your cool kids club? And if somebody violates the terms of service of your platform, you suspend them or
from the service.
Here is the larger issue, and we can just call this what it is. Twitter needs the verification program because it makes special people feel more special, which makes them more likely to be bound to their platform. They don't want to make it something that they have now imbued with power available to everybody, because it not only takes away from those people that have it, it seemingly gives a distinction to those that we might find odious. And furthermore, Twitter needs people on their platform. They need to show growth. They don't want there to be a gigantic let's all quit Twitter today situation. And I think that this is them taking half measures on half measures on half measures that only create problems, in which they eventually say, crap, we really can't solve this. Let's take another half measure.
Yeah. I mean, they say they're working on a brand new authentication and verification program. Maybe there's going to be a two-parter to this, where it's like, well, they'll have a verification program like I'm advocating. Then maybe they have some elite special program, which Instagram has stuff like that, where they're like, celebrity, this is a celebrity account. That's fine too.
I hate that. I hate the tiers of accounts.
Yeah, I know.
Then I'm going to take 280 characters to explain how I'm holding my breath.
Well, at least you've got that, Justin.
Wait, do you not have that?
No, I mean, we all do now, but I'm just saying, at least Twitter has given you
exactly
280 characters
to, to not practice brevity at all times.
Turns out it's not the solo wit. The massive bike sharing business in China may be shaken out a bit. Blue Go, which operates 700,000 bikes across China, has lost several top executives and will be stopping users from withdrawing 100 renminbi, aka that is $15 here in the U.S., deposits due to financial issues. TechCrunch partner TechNode reports that salary payments for employees have been delayed until February 2018 as well.
I think this is a sign of the maturation of this bike sharing market. The fact that it is very slow coming to Europe, I think, means that we haven't really seen it take off there, but I think it still could. I don't know if it's going to catch on in the U.S. It seems like the bikes just get vandalized here anytime I've seen them being used.
We have them all over Oakland, and they're a program run by Ford. And I'm convinced that they're just putting crappy bikes out there so people try to ride a bike and they say, this sucks, I should buy a car.
I should buy a Ford, right? It does feel like ours in LA over here are sponsored by Hulu.
Yeah, everybody's on a Hulu bike.
There's no conspiracy theory here.
I see so many of the stations. I don't see a lot of the bikes being used by humans. In San Francisco, I did, which is, its own bike program. I'm not sure if Oakland's the same, Justin, or they're two different programs.
They literally just put them in over the last couple months.
Oh, okay. But, it just depends on the city, right? I mean, Los Angeles is not a place for you to, unless you're lucky enough to work not far from your house or need to go that far from your house and like riding a bike, it's like you're not going to ride 40 miles to downtown.
But on the other hand, over in China, huge companies, problems with having too many bikes on the roads because there's so many competing companies. It's almost necessary for a company like Blue Go to go out of business to reduce the clutter. Although what happens to those 700,000 bikes, I think, is an interesting question.
Blue Go went.
Yeah, Blue Go went. Researchers at Rhino Security Labs developed a proof-of-concept attack on the Amazon Key. That's the new system for letting delivery people unlock your door, leave the package, and then going. The attack uses a simple deauthorization attack on Wi-Fi devices. This is a common thing. You can make any device fall off of a Wi-Fi network. It's not even really considered a security vulnerability. It's just an annoyance. It's a harassment. The way this turns into a vulnerability with Amazon Key is that when Amazon's Cloud Cam, which is the thing pointed at your door to let you be able to watch the delivery person come in and out, leaves the last frame of video live on the web. So if you knock it, you basically jam it off the Wi-Fi network, the person who's looking at it remotely will see whatever the last picture was, which is probably a closed door, right? And then they won't be able to know that the door is open. So they went through all kinds of scenarios, one where the delivery person comes in, leaves the package, and then closes the door but doesn't lock it, and then deauthorizes it So the person sees them close the door and that's it. And then they sneak back in and rob you. And they can stop deauthorizing once they've sneaked back, because then you'll still just see a closed door and then they deauthorize again. Jamma. Another one could be somebody sneaking up behind the delivery person and basically jamming it, because when the webcam goes offline, the lock also goes online. So the lock wouldn't lock automatically. If the delivery person isn't checking, they might not notice. How worried does this make you guys?
Not that worried, because I'm
you're not going to use it.
Using it anytime soon. But I mean, it's not like, oh well, the answer is just to like, not take advantage of like some cool technology that would work well if used correctly. But yeah, I'm not really surprised about this. It's funny how much emotion this whole idea of Amazon courier opening your door slow, just to put a package inside and closing the door has drummed up. I mean, myself included. I think it's super weird, but sure. I mean, somebody coming up behind a delivery person who has the key to the front of my building. Yeah. And it's not totally different than something that could already exist now.
And the delivery people are vetted by Amazon, so they say that this shouldn't happen, and people that if it did happen, they would get fired anyway, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and one thing on this, I think that the larger idea about the security problems or anxieties around this product are taking what is an interesting exploit and kind of making it this product defeating kind of story. I don't think that it is that. I think it's something that is patchable. It is fixable. And if you are cool with making that deal that the technology asks you to make, then it should still basically be the same technology once they fix it.
Breaking news. My mom just got back from bingo. She won $1 on her birthday. So.
That is such a fun birthday.
Yeah.
I've got some good news for you, Mrs. Merritt. Baidu announced 3 new smart speakers, and 2 of them are technically also robots. The Raven H looks like a stack of plastic squares. If you remove 2 of them, it can become a voice remote as well. The Raven H goes on sale for about 1,699 won, or $256 US next month in China. The Raven R, that's the second announcement, is a smart speaker with 6 joints that can move in response to comments and express emotions as well. Never really thought our speakers were going to be so emotional, but
there you go.
Here we are. This is the life we're living. The Raven Q, not even shown, but supposedly will integrate simultaneous localization and mapping, computer vision, voice recognition, and natural language processing. No price or release dates were announced for the last 2, though.
Yeah, it felt like they were just trying to show off what was going on with the, we've got robotics in the work. Our smart speakers are way ahead of others. I have to say, the one they did have a release date for, though, the design is really interesting. And the whole plastic square thing, and then you just pull it off for the remote. That's cool. I
mean, I'm not kidding when I say if there was anything I didn't realize was going to be disrupted, it was the speaker industry. But it turns out that just having a smart speaker isn't enough. The speaker needs to, show emotions and maybe walk and
replace Kevin Spacey in a movie, like just other regular things that they should be able to
have
do.
A Canadian accent. I mean, there's so many.
No, this seems super cool.
Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to Daily Tech Headlines. You can get all this stuff super fast, comprehensive in your head as a podcast, or on the Amazon Echo as a flash briefing. That's a smart speaker. Or on the Google Home, thanks to the Anchor app. That's a smart speaker. The Anchor's not. Anchor's an app. You can get that on there, too. It's all there. Get it. dailytechheadlines.com. So, trust indicators, which when I start to say it, it feels like it's a, like Trust Falls or something. They're just little badges that say you can, just like trusted, like the UE stamp on your electrical devices. Yeah. Trust indicators are going live on Facebook Thursday. It gives you access to information on a news organization's ethics and practices, who they are. They have like 8 different things about who are the journalists, how are they assigned, what kind of expertise do they have, what kind of local community outreach do they have. This is a nonpartisan foundation started by Sally Lerman of Santa Clara University's Markula Center for Applied Ethics. It was originally funded by Craigslist founder Craig Newmark's philanthropic fund, and then it has received additional funding from Google, the Knight Foundation, the Democracy Fund, and the Markula Foundation itself, which runs the ethics department. Google will also add the trust indicators in search and Google News. I shouldn't say Markula Foundation runs. They fund the ethics. They don't run it. So we're going to get these in. We're getting these in Facebook now. They're rolling out. They show it in the TechCrunch article as an app, but you see this little indicator, you tap on it, and it'll say, oh, this is who they are, and you can click through on these things to find out more about how they collect news. Sarah, they've got a bunch of different ways of explaining this, right?
Yeah. So for example, let's say you see something on Facebook and you're like, I'd like to know more about the originator, of this particular article. So the Trust Project will have indicators based on things like, what are your standards as an organization? Are you a news org? Do you have a tagline? Who are the people who run your organization? More information about people who work there, that sort of thing. Who funds the news outlet? What's the mission? Then you go to author expertise. So who specifically reported this? Is this a person that has written a lot of stuff in the past that has been legit? So the journalists who wrote the story, but also expertise and other stories that they've worked on in the past. So it's context, right? What type of work? What is this story about? What kind of a label would you put on this story to distinguish opinion versus fact? That sort of thing, which is, again, a lot of stuff that people claim that Facebook and particularly lots of news sources have become sort of muddled in, for example. And then citations and references. So you write something, okay, well, who are your sources? Is this investigative journalism? Is this an in-depth story? Where did you get your information from? And again, is your history credible enough to make me more likely to put stock in your story? I think all this stuff is great. I also think that, and we all on the show work in the media to an extent where I think we're going the extra mile about this, because oftentimes we're parsing other people's stories because we want to make sure that we're getting information right. I don't know how much the average person is going to appreciate all of this and take the time to dive deeper and make sure that they're reading the kind of stuff that they want to be reading.
I think this is a terrible name.
That too.
I think it's a really, really bad name, and it might taint the work that they could do. There is a lot of this that I do think is very interesting, if not very important, including the idea of just highlighting. This is an opinion article. It says it's an opinion article. Maybe the design of the web page does not tell you that up front. Maybe even as the race for clicks infects everybody from BuzzFeed to the old gray lady of the New York Times, that they might want to minimize, because they find that when they have opinion up higher as a tag, that it creates less clicks. And there is now a profit motivation to take that lower, that if there is a third-party way to highlight that, it does make us smarter. To call it the Trust Project, which to me just borders a little bit too far on the Ministry of Truth. It just gets into too much of an Orwellian, we are the platform, we are here to tell you what this is. For my taste personally, I think, listen, the medium is the message. And either you are going to get these kind of indisputable facts out on Front Street for those who want to understand them, or you are saying, this is what you should think, and this is what you should trust. One final point. I still think with this entire issue, since we've been talking about fake news with a capital F, in the wake of the election, we have not honed in on what I think is a understandable problem that we all want to solve. We are not saying, are these just absolutely fabricated things run out of click farms in Macedonia, or are we saying this is shoddy journalism? Because to me, they are two very different things that require two very different problems. And the second is far thornier than anybody really wants to admit. Because there's the New York Times, the Washington Post, they got a correction section. They screw something up every single day. Sometimes it's big stuff that they screw up every single day. And if you wanted to keep track of that and maybe keep a report card, some sort of board of health on based on how many times they got to issue a correction, that's an interesting way to do it. If you want to say, okay, hey, be aware, this is a story with no name sources. That to me is interesting, and it makes you think about stuff in the way that I think about stuff as somebody with who formerly at one point drew a paycheck being a reporter. These are the kind of things that I looked for. I don't know if I looked for necessarily some of this stuff, and I really don't like what it's called.
Yeah, I have to say, you hit the nail on the head when there are two different problems, and this addresses one, but sounds like it's addressing another, right? The problem of, hey, people are sharing these things that are made by bots and they're not true. That's a problem of something I saw called peer-to-peer misinformation. And this is why I'm always harping on, let's find out what the impact of fake news was, because I don't know that it's what we all want to assume, like, oh, obviously it's, you post this and people believe it. I don't think it's that. I think the problem is it gets passed around within an organization, and a lot of the methods that are being used to combat it aren't effective in that. Because if the internal echo chamber doesn't trust the third party that's trying to tell you it's not fake, it won't make any difference. So you really need to combat peer-to-peer misinformation. How do we keep that from happening? Not how do we stop fake news? That's why I think we want evidence. This, on the other hand, I think is great. What it is fantastic. It's saying, we're not telling you what to believe. We're not going to try to label things. We're giving you information so you know the source. If you're interested in finding out, wait, where did this come from? We're going to tell you that. I think that's important. I think that's great. I think calling it trusted makes it sound like a badge of honor, and it goes right back to the problem Twitter's having. People are going to look at this and assume, oh, this means I can trust them. It's got the trust badge, right? And that's not what it is. It's you can decide whether to trust them by reading this information. And I think that is a problem with the name.
Specifically when what's listed is, well, how long have they been in business, right? Like, oh, okay, well, it looks like this site has only been in business for 4 years and is run primarily by one person who is doing it part-time. And the other is the New York Times, and it's the paper of record. And it
Faux POS in the chat room says, I hope it doesn't put the trust stamp next to articles based on polls. He's already this person has the wrong idea based on the name. We're not saying articles based on polls are trustworthy. It's going to tell you, like, here's how this company does their stories, whether the article's based on polls or not. It's not supposed to tell you the story is trustworthy, and that's going to be the problem.
I just think they need a new name. I hear Blue Go-Go's available.
Yeah, or Blue Go gone.
What about transparency?
Maybe that's not bad.
Well, no, I think the idea that they are taking any kind of authority position is a problem. That they are like a watchdog to me is a problem. Just the information will speak for itself.
You got to call it something, but yeah, it shouldn't imply anything. It should be info.
Wikipedia didn't need to be called the Book of Truth.
Right. Hey, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and in our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/dailytechnewsshow. Let's check the mailbag, Sarah.
Dwayne from Germany wrote in and said, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about how much Apple Face ID is being faked, and most give it a passing. Well, this is better than Android phones. Now, I use a desktop, and I have a Surface Pro 5 with Windows Hello. I've not heard of any of these issues in the 2 years that it's been out. To my knowledge, nothing that I'm using has been hacked as of yet. Even the twin issue, that's the issue of, if you have a twin, then maybe Face ID will get confused. Well, that doesn't work with Windows Hello. It has not even really been proven to work overall. So journalists need to stop giving Apple a pass because Microsoft has been doing this for 2 years, doing it well, and the speed of logging is super fast now. Love the show.
Okay. There were also some other folks who were saying, hey, Tom, when you talked about Android, Kid Clayton, for particular, one of our analysts, when you talked about Android and Face ID yesterday, you didn't talk about Windows Hello. And I actually thought about bringing it up. I left it out partly for time, but also partly because Windows Hello is mostly a laptop tablet system, not a phone system. And we were comparing like to like, phone to phone. But I would like to say that I use Windows Hello, and I've been very impressed with Windows Hello, and I've mentioned it before on the show on my Surface Book. It's great. Now, the twins thing has not been proven not to be a problem for Windows Hello. In August 2015, The Australian, a newspaper, tried to fool Windows Hello with twins. They used 6 sets of twins, so 12 people. None of them were able to fool Windows Hello. So it seemed like it was pretty twin resistant. 6 pairs of twins, however, is not a scientific sample, but it's a good early indicator. 4 of the 12 people couldn't get it to work at all, though. Keep that in mind. That was an early version of Windows Hello, but it entirely failed. At the time, and still on their website, Microsoft claims an acceptance rate of 1 in 100,000. They say, we will only be fooled. Windows Hello will only be fooled by the wrong person 1 in 100,000 times. Keep in mind, Apple claims 1 in a million for Face ID. But that aside, I think Windows Hello is great. It works really well. I feel like the delays, Face ID is crazy fast. I forget it's there. It's that fast. Windows Hello does not work that fast for me. I also have an older Surface Book, so maybe it works that fast for the newer Surface Books. Also, it's a laptop. And to me, it's a different situation. It's got to deal with an entirely different construction of an operating system, a different function of sitting in front of you than Face ID. Face ID, you naturally are pointing towards your face more often. Maybe that's why I feel like it works well. But yeah, I guess this is to say I didn't mean to leave Windows Hello out yesterday on purpose. I just feel like it's a little bit of a different conversation than comparing Face ID to the Android facial recognition. And I am surprised at how good Face ID is.
Twin resistance.
Yeah. Twin engine.
Another thing I didn't think we'd be talking about in 2017, but here we are.
What he's saying, Dwayne, is he's an Apple apologist. And
just stop.
Checks from Cupertino.
Stop. Right. I love my Surface Book. Windows Hello is fantastic.
Just an Apple shill, Tom.
I wouldn't take the checks, even if they came.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to thank Justin Robert Young until he said that, but I'll go ahead and let him tell you about his show.
Well, I will tell everybody in Philadelphia this Saturday, 7 p.m., Shot Tower Coffee. I'm going to be doing a live politics show. I am very, very excited. I hope that we get a little bit of a crowd. Come on out, say hello if you are a DTNS fan. And also, what's that? It's X. X gonna give it to you.
What?
You got my iPhone 10 in the mail.
I'm gonna send you an emoji right now. Oh, look who's getting checks from Apple now.
Look at that. I'm very excited. Go ahead and follow me, Justin R. Young, on Twitter.
Excellent. Yeah, Philadelphia folks, get out. Go check them out. Got to see that live show. Votes are in, folks. We have a winner for our holiday vote. Thanks to everybody who went to Patreon to vote. We super appreciate it. We know most of you are patrons, but even the folks who weren't supporting us Patreon who went and vote, you guys are the best. And the winner appears to be, by a nose, a retro show set 10 to 20 years in the past, covering topics from that time period.
Yes! Patrons, you're the best. I secretly wanted that to be the winner. I just didn't want to influence the results.
Close second was each host picks their favorite or biggest topic of the year and leads a discussion on it. So
nobody cares about that.
I was going to say we'll keep that in mind. But yeah, so that will be for sure our 4th show will be the retro show, and we'll have more information about that coming soon. Thanks, folks. And hey, we're right at the same number of patrons as last month, so we just need at least one more. If that's you, if you're not supporting us, it's $1 a month, $12 a year. You'll never miss it. Patreon.com/DTNS.
If you're upset about the holiday show that got chosen, you can email us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Just kidding. Well, no, I'm not kidding. You can email us if you're angry, but hopefully most of
you
our
can email
emails,
us if you're happy too. We're not trying to prime the pump here.
I mean, that's always ideal, but we want you to talk to us, however you might feel at the time. We are live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv, and our email address is dailytechnewsshow.com.
Back tomorrow with Annalie Newitz to talk about encryption. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
It's going to set up automatically.
Retro show! Oh my God, my setup was a nightmare for the iPhone 10.
It was?
Yeah.
Why?
What was it all? So it kept rebooting for restoring things. Then I'm trying to remember what it was. It was something weird during the setup where it's like, whoa, we can't do that right now. Oh, I know what it was. Partly my fault. I didn't put my old SIM in. It had a SIM in it, and it's like, you're going to have to call T-Mobile to activate it. So that complicated things because I had to wait for it to set up, then turn off, then put the old SIM in. So I just switched it. It was unlocked anyway.
Gosh, have I been putting my old SIM in my new iPhone every time I get it? Like, I don't even remember.
I do that because I usually buy an unlocked. Sometimes I buy a SIM-less one. So I just want to keep the SIM. That way I don't have to call anybody.
I got you.
Then setting up Google Authenticator for all the accounts was a trawl, was a slog. I don't know. There kept being things that I had to pay attention to. I remember it wasn't as easy as I wanted it to be.
Be secure
Activating.
All right, titles. Showbutt. There's a headphone jack. Mrs. Merritt won $1. Trust me, I know what I'm reposting. Would I lie to you? Fake verification. Verification is not approval. Twitter. Tears of fears. Fear of tears. Tom took off his glasses. You know it's serious when Tom takes off his glasses. Trustworthy sharing. Trust me, I'm with Facebook. We need to talk. What's trust got to do with it? What trust tastes like?
That is interesting. It looks so much smaller than the 7 Plus.
Well, this is the thing.
Exact same thing when you put it on top.
It's a bigger screen, and this is why I tweeted this yesterday. It's a bigger screen, but it's a little narrower screen than the Plus. And when you take out the notch, which granted it has your time and your Wi-Fi indicator, and you consider that there's always the home bar at the bottom, it actually feels smaller. Like when I read Kindle on here, particularly, I feel like I'm reading on a phone with bezels. Look at that. Like that's a phone with bezels right there. That's an iPhone 6 regular, not a Plus.
How do you what's the take off Wi-Fi thing?
The what?
Never mind. I don't need to be asking.
Give us a few options, Roger. What's the best ones?
Verification is not approval. Twitter. Trust me, I know what I'm reposting. What was the other one?
What about trust and verification?
That just doesn't sound very fun.
Trust but verification. Trust but verify. How about a Richard Nixon inspired headline is what I'm trying to say.
That's a Reagan one, isn't it? Trust but verify.
Oh, I guess it was Reagan. You're right. Sorry.
Wrong old white guy. Actually, this old white guy was much older than the other old white guy. You won't believe how much you can trust Facebook. I like this one. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're a bot.
Well, that's funny. I like that one.
Is that too long?
You tell me. Like it looks short because they're not long words.
You could always use just "you for you're a bot," which would be kind of funny.
You're a bot.
You're a bot.
You're a bat.
Oh, speaking of Facebook, everything on Facebook is angering me today.
Well, what's got your goat?
Well, okay, here's a headline from the Washington Post. Trophies from elephant hunts in Zimbabwe were banned in the U.S. Trump just reversed that.
Who's this Washington Post?
Yeah, where's
the trust indicator on
Never
them?
heard of ya. No, I'm just like, let's not do that to the elephants.
All right, I haven't even read that story, but I've seen it passed around a lot. And it's got one of those headlines that I immediately kind of think is like it's a very clickbaity headline. Trump.
Well, I mean, okay. So
Well, listen, folks,
as far as I understand this, on its surface,
Mhm.
if you killed an elephant outside of the U.S., you could not bring the elephant or parts of it into the U.S. because it's like we're not gonna be cool with that, right?
Yeah.
And now you can.
Okay. All right. Yes, I'm reading it now. African elements are listed as threatened under the Endangered Species Act, but the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has determined that large sums paid for permit to hunt the animals could actually help them by putting much needed revenue back into conservation. So
what we're saying is this is not just an animal rights story. It's a politics story.
well, I guess that's the thing is that it's like, and I had this problem with whenever.
Elephant.
Well, no. Whenever it's like, president just did this, right? When it's like federal government is very, very big, and not to say that the president does not affect all of it on some level, right?
Right. But President Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, none of them did everything the government did throughout their entire term in office.
I just mean it's loaded, right? It's
Yeah.
But the thing is, wasn't originally an Obama executive order.
I don't know.
Here we
That's
go.
not the point we're trying to make here.
Under the Obama administration, elephant hunting trophies were allowed in countries such as South Africa, but not in Zimbabwe, because Fish and Wildlife decided that in 2015 that the nation had failed to prove that its management of elephants enhanced the population. Zimbabwe cannot confirm its elephant population in a way that it was acceptable to U.S. officials. They did not demonstrate an ability to implement laws to protect this. So this was not a like Obama doesn't like elephant heads coming back into the United States because he finds hunting and poaching gross. It was Zimbabwe didn't have the paperwork to prove that
It wasn't just a paper. There was no
But
way.
really, what we're doing is freaking talking about politics, which people hate when we do on the post show.
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry. I like elephants.
I know. That's cool. I like talking about elephants, and elephants should be.
All right, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're a bot. Title done.
Perfect.
Yes, that is in here. It's really long, but it's too funny not to use.
I shared because why not talk about cute animals, right? That's not political. Everybody likes cute animal.
Cute donkeys, cute elephants.
Donkeys,
Crap.
cats, obviously, dogs,
Okay, of course.
all of them. But our good friend, well, was it Dave Chung? I don't know. We were talking about Dave Chung yesterday. He shares lots of cute animal things on Facebook. It was either him or somebody else. It was a story about a dog and an owl who had become very close.
Aw.
And, these are, talk about clickbait, right? Works every time.
Yeah.
I don't even care. I'm happy about it. I want there to be more crappy animal spam stuff in my life.
I'm one of those people that that's like ducks off a water off a duck's back. Like it doesn't affect me at all. Like, but general, like, oh, look at this video. It's like, yeah, like doesn't move the needle. It's not that I hate animals. I think they're very delicious, but it's I don't like.
Well, sure. I mean, the headlines are always bad. Like, I couldn't stop watching this, and you're like, you probably watched it once. Right?
Yeah.
You didn't watch it 100 times, or it's that you'll just melt down. This is the thing that we all needed today. Like that stuff is sort of silly. But if a dog and an owl are friends, I want to know about it.
Because you don't think it should be allowed to continue?
Because I want there to be more.
It must.
You want more?
Nonpartisan animal friendships.
Who are your friends? You're not
Right.
friends with that owl.
Yeah. Where's
No,
your
I know.
credentials?
Can I trust that owl?
Oh. Sorry, I'm sitting down. I know I'm going to be standing soon in a second. These days are slightly longer than what I'm used to standing. So
Do you wear
Take out a little-
sandals or shoes when you stand?
I haven't been, no. But it is getting better. at first I was like, man, standing. And now I'm like, I'd feel weird sitting. I like standing. It's the right energy. It's just, I have sort of like a shelf life before my back starts saying like, maybe you should sit again.
I remember standing all the time, bussing and waiting tables on your feet for 8 hours.
Oh, yeah. I used to, when I was in college, I worked at this store, just like a retail store. And, we were selling things to people. And sometimes there were more than, a couple of us working, so you're kind of wandering around the store helping people. And sometimes it's just you. So you're like behind the register. And there was this rule that we couldn't like lean on the counter because it made it seem like we were sloppy.
Because it meant you had time to clean.
I hate that phrase.
It meant that you were, not standing at attention, ready to help the customer, and it was just like, I remember, somebody kind of saying like, Sarah, we saw you with your elbows on the thing. I was like,
wow.
Hurts. Like,
I have stories of that. We had secret shoppers in to check in. It's like, really? Why don't you have those secret shoppers, buy some stuff so you'll actually rake in some revenue?
Secret revenue.
Yeah, right.
Jerks.
That's funny. This happens to me not often. Once in a blue moon, though, I'll have an experience at a store, grocery store or some whatever store. And the customer service is so off the charts good that I think that they think I'm a secret shopper, even though I've never have been.
Oh, right. You're like, they must know.
I'm like,
why are they treating me so nice?
It's so over the top good, which is maybe that's just the way it is. But I'm like, I'm suspicious.
Maybe they looked up your social, your clout score. Do people still use clout scores? Is that a thing?
No.
No, clout. That's a name I have not.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I have never, ever had that experience, and I would love to have it at least
You've
once
never had a
before.
good customer service experience?
No, I've never had I've had your typical customer, but I've never like what just Sarah
You've never
described.
suspected that maybe it was like, oh,
no, because I get treated like, okay, this is what we have. I mean, like it was very typical. It wasn't like, oh wow, this is like exceptional service.
I mean, believe me, most of the time, good service, you're just like, okay, that was work, that's great. Customer service. But there's certain times where I'm like, okay, yes, you are welcome for buying your thing. It's somewhat above and beyond what seems normal.
They start.
But who knows? Maybe I just don't know how to be treated well.
Or maybe companies could actually be getting better at customer service.
That too.
Yeah, sometimes they do. It depends on the stores and their managers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Sarah's not saying she gets it everywhere. It's
no. It doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
There's just you just kind of get a vibe where you're like, that was like almost unnecessarily nice.
See that I never get that. I always get like, I always feel like
be nicer to Roger.
They do exactly what they need to do the bare minimum with customer service. Oh, sir, can I help you? It's like, oh no, I'm just browsing. All right, disappear. Like I don't see him again ever on the floor.
Wait. You want more than that?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, he's just saying that he's never getting the impression that like someone thinks he's a secret shopper and like falling over themselves to give great customer service.
I'm also very critical of customer service when they don't do it. It's like, really? This is what you do?
They can tell. That's what it is. They're like, this guy's going to be critical.
This guy's going to be a hard ass.
It's like you're really set up to fail, because I remember when I was working in a shop where, the idea was to move as much merchandise as possible. If I said, hey, can I help you out with anything? And someone was like, just browsing, I'd be like, got it. You won't hear from me again. Because that's what I want someone to do when I'm in a store. If I say no, thank you, I don't want you to like follow up. But, that's not the way that you're supposed to be like, let me come at you a different way. To like,
are you sure?
Yeah.
Have you seen our sales?
Like, oh my God, your bag is so cute. Where'd you get it? And then you like, have a conversation with them and then try to sell the thing that you were trying to sell them before. So it's like, there's no real, that's all just personal preference.
I get not the hard sell, but I'm the guy that they always try to load up. It's like, do you want this? Really go great with this. It's like, no, that's fine. It's the worst.
They just turn you become a challenge because you're so dismissive.
It's like no, I don't need
You're their white whale.
I don't need your store extended warranty.
We will convince this man to spend more money than he wants.
Why would I spend $50 on an extended warranty for a $35 device? No, I will buy another one if it breaks.
Oh my goodness. Breaking news.
Oh no.
Mashable to sell to Ziff Davis.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I saw that before the show. I didn't think anyone cared.
For, by the way, 1/5 what they were valued at last year.
Oh, it just broke an hour ago, so I guess it was before the show. You're right.
Well, but I mean,
I didn't see it. I don't think we would have put it in the show.
I just didn't think
I don't think we would have put it in the lineup. It's just personally because it's Ziff Davis and Mashable.
Yeah,
that's
and
true.
Ziff Davis itself was like in receivership for the longest time.
That's the other part, right? Is like, wow, Ziff Davis must be doing good enough to buy things.
I remember when I was there, and everyone was like, "Oh, all right, which way to the lifeboats?"
Report claims that while a push towards video at the site initially resulted in a rosier revenue picture, it's now on track to post a loss for 2017. I don't know. Maybe they should have signed up a cord-cutting show for video. Maybe that things would be different.
Well, this is actually Mashable. Oh, where do I start? But this is, I just feel like, I don't know. I have complicated feelings about this because we work in video and I really care about it. And I believe in, good creators making good content.
Yeah.
At the same time, Mashable, I don't think it's like, oh, they just did crappy video. They actually did some really cool videos.
Yeah, they did. No, they did a lot of really good
So it's
stuff.
like, I just see this as sort of a ripple effect as companies start realizing that, oh, making video is hard, labor intensive, expensive, requires equipment, it's time consuming and all of that stuff, and pull back on a lot of efforts. That's just sort of me and my crystal ball.
Yeah. And Lance Ulanoff going back to Ziff Davis. Look at that.
Hey, all right.
Oh, is he? I know. That's the weirdest thing because he used to run it.
Yep.
He's like, I'm
so,
done.
Sarah, before we go on video, can you just partly stand up?
Oh,
Just a little bit. Just no, too far. No, go back, duck back down a little bit.
Why? What are you doing?
Just kind of crouch down a little bit.
Why?
Just part way. Just a little more. Oh, look, she has a halo.
Oh, I'm an angel.
Hey, can you tell the big man upstairs? Tell the big man upstairs to let me win one of those.
How we make the sausage or whatever the term is. How we cook the.
How you cook the breakfast?
They say God works in mysterious ways. Let it be a scratcher.
Let this mysterious way be a scratcher, please.
Yeah. Let it be the set for life one. The one that gives me 10 grand a month.
Apple has released a fix for those unresponsive iPhone 10s in the cold.
Oh, to help it make that transition.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I can't test it personally, but
I can put it in my freezer.
Yeah, get in the freezer and tell us how it goes.
Yeah. What did I think that was? I had an idea of what I thought would cause that, because it's not a mechanical issue, right? All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.